Across the ancient world, people worship beings so bizarre, so terrifying, that even their own priests feared to speak their names aloud. Creatures with animal heads, twisted bodies, hunger for blood, and powers that shape life, death, and madness. These were not gentle gods of love or peace. These were forces no human could fully comprehend. Tonight, we descend into the oldest myths on Earth, the darker side of ancient belief, where forgotten civilizations bowed to entities that defied logic. Here are the 20 most strange gods of ancient civilization. 20. Pazuzu, Mesopotamia, the demon god of storms, drought, and raging desert winds. Pazuzu had a lion's face, eagle talons, scorpion tail, and wings stretched like a bat. People feared him, but they also begged him for protection, because Pazuzu's presence drove away even worse demons. Imagine a civilization so terrified of evil that their protector was a creature of nightmares. His statues were hidden under beds, hung around children's necks, and buried in walls. Not to honor him, but to keep him calm. If you invoked him incorrectly, ancient texts warned he would bring sickness and madness upon your home. 19. Kotlikue. Aztec, her name means she of the serpent's skirt, and she looked exactly as terrifying as she sounded. Her entire body was covered in writhing snakes, her hands ended in claws, and her necklace was made from human hearts and severed hands. According to Aztec mythology, she birthed the moon and stars, alone, in darkness, but her children hunted her down and beheaded her. Yet even headless, she rose again. Worshippers believed she controlled cycles of life and death. Temples dedicated to her were filled with offerings of blood, because the Aztecs believed the earth itself would die if she wasn't fed. 18. Angra Mainyu, Persia, the embodiment of absolute evil. Unlike most ancient gods who had domains like water or fertility, Angra Mainyu's domain was destruction itself. He invented sickness, war, decay, and every cruel thought humans could have. Zoroastrian texts describe him as a creature of pure darkness, not a demon, but a primordial force with its own army of monstrous beings. People feared saying his name aloud, believing it invited misfortune. To fight him, priests performed rituals of fire and purity because he despised light. 17. Sekhmet, Egypt, a lioness goddess said to be so violent that even other gods feared her. When humanity once offended Ra, he unleashed Sekhmet, and she nearly wiped out all life. Her bloodlust was so unstoppable that the gods had to trick her by dyeing beer red so she would think it was blood and drink herself unconscious. But her priests warned that if she ever awakened again, plague and war would follow. In temples, statues of Sekhmet lined the halls, hundreds of them, as if even stone needed to be multiplied to contain her rage. 16. Lamashtu, Mesopotamia. Called the Daughter of Heaven, but nothing about her was heavenly. Lamashtu preyed on pregnant women, newborn babies, and sleeping children. She drank their blood, stole their breath, and caused miscarriages. She had a lion's head, a woman's body, talons for feet, and held serpents in her hands. Mothers slept with amulets under their pillows, begging for protection. Even demons feared her. Ancient doctors recited long spells describing her nightmares, trying desperately to drive her away. And if you think these first 5 gods are disturbing, the next ones are even stranger. If you love stories like this, the forgotten, the terrifying, the unbelievable, make sure you subscribe to Crease so you never miss the next deep dive into the mysteries of our ancient world. 15. Tezcatlipoca, Aztec, a god with a smoking mirror for a face, one foot replaced with a jaguar's claw, and a personality that shifted between trickster, destroyer, and kingmaker. He controlled destiny itself, and was known to appear in mirrors to humans, showing them terrible futures. His rituals often ended in human sacrifice, not because he demanded blood, but because people believed reality itself could collapse if he was displeased. Priests said he walked the earth at night, invisible except for a faint trail of smoke. 14. Apophis, Egypt, not a god of creation, a god of unmaking, a colossal serpent who lived in the eternal night of the underworld, trying to swallow the sun every morning. Egyptians believed every sunrise was a battle between Apophis and the gods. If he ever won, the world would fall into endless darkness. Priests performed nightly rituals stabbing serpent effigies to help Ra survive. Apophis couldn't be killed, only pushed back for one more day. 13. Yama-Uba, Japan, a mountain witch goddess with long, wild hair and a mouth that could stretch across her entire face. She pretended to be a helpless old woman until travelers entered her hut. Then the illusion vanished and she devoured them whole. Villagers feared her so much they left offerings in forests just to keep her away. Some tales say she could split into multiple bodies, surrounding victims in silence before striking. 12. Nergal, Mesopotamia, the god of plague, war, and the burning sun. Temples dedicated to him were filled with lions because even lions symbolized his cruelty. Nergal ruled the underworld alongside Ereshkigal, and he was said to bring diseases simply by opening a door. Ancient kings prayed to him for victory, but feared that even a small mistake could bring pestilence upon their entire city. 11. Hecatoncheires, Greece. Not one god, but 3 siblings with 50 heads and 100 arms each. They were so horrifying that even the Titans imprisoned them. Their screams were said to shake mountains, and their rage helped overthrow the Titans in a war that shaped the cosmos. Ancient Greeks believed they lived deep underground, holding up the prison walls of the underworld with their many limbs. 10. Moloch, Levant, a towering god of fire and sacrifice. His statues were giant metal figures with open hands, heated until they were red. Ancient writings describe rituals where children were offered into the flames to appease him. His worship spread terror even in neighboring cultures, and his name became synonymous with cruelty. Whether myth or history, the image of Moloch was enough to haunt generations. 9. Kali, India, a goddess of time, destruction, and rebirth, wearing a necklace of skulls, a skirt of severed arms, and a tongue dripping with blood. Yet she wasn't evil. She was the force that destroys evil. Her dance could end the universe, and only Shiva could calm her when she lost control. In battle myths, she devours demons whole, laughing as the world trembles beneath her feet. 8. Camazotz, Maya the bat god of night, caves, and violent sacrifice. Depicted with a humanoid body and the head of a vampire bat, he lived in world, waiting for humans to wander too close. Mayan legends tell of him decapitating heroes with a single swipe of his razor-sharp noseblade. Priests feared darkness because they believed Camazotz prowled the night sky, hungry. 7. Babi, Egypt, an aggressive, bloodthirsty baboon god associated with the dead. He was said to stand atop corpses and devour human intestines. In the afterlife, he guarded the gates, and if someone failed judgment, Babi would tear them apart. His frightening nature came from the behavior of real baboons, violent, unpredictable, and feared by Egyptians. 6. Tlaloc, Aztec, a rain god who brought life and terrifying death. He demanded the tears of children, believing their crops were sacred. Victims were chosen young, and weeping was considered a blessing. Tlaloc's temples were decorated with water symbols, but his rituals were some of the harshest in Mesoamerica. Farmers prayed to him with trembling hands because a single drought could be blamed on their lack of devotion. 5. Ixtab, Maya, the goddess of suicide. Peaceful in appearance, but tied to one of the darkest beliefs. Her followers believed she guided the souls of those who hanged themselves into paradise. She was often depicted with a noose around her neck, watching over the dead with calm eyes. Her existence shows how differently ancient people viewed death, and how certain acts could be seen as sacred rather than tragic. Apep, Arabia, pre-Islamic. A monstrous serpent god of chaos, said to swallow travelers in sandstorms. Tribes believed he lived beneath dunes, shifting the desert to trap the living. His presence was blamed for disappearing caravans. When storms screamed at night, people said Apep was devouring the sky. 3. Wendigo, First Nations, a spirit of winter, starvation, and cannibalism. The Wendigo could possess starving individuals, turning them into skeletal creatures with endless hunger. Even full, it could never stop eating. Its body grew with every meal, making satisfaction impossible. Entire villages were said to fear its whisper on cold nights. 2. Anubis, Egypt. Though familiar today, ancient Egyptians saw Anubis as deeply unsettling. A jackal-headed god wandering cemeteries at night, weighing the hearts of the dead, deciding who lived eternally and who was devoured. Priests wore jackal masks during mummification rituals, becoming his living shadows. His stare was believed to pierce through both body and soul. 1. Medusa, before the curse, Greece. Most people know Medusa the monster, but fewer know that before she was cursed, she was a goddess of protection. Her face, twisted with fangs, serpent hair, and a gaze that turned men to stone, decorated shields, temples, and armor. People believed her image could ward off evil so effectively that her terrifying appearance was a divine gift. Even turned into a monster, her head remained so powerful that gods used it as a weapon. Across the world, ancient civilizations tried to understand life, death, chaos, and fear. And the gods they created reflected those mysteries. From serpents in the sky to demons in the desert, these beings shaped how entire cultures lived, fought, prayed, and died. The stories may be old, but their shadows still shape our world.